In this mini lesson, we are going to talk about paragraphing in a narrative specifically. We have talked about this before, but I want to reiterate paragraphing. There are two different locations that you have resources for this. One is on page 92 of your resource journal, where you have the How to Paragraph a Narrative, which we'll talk about, as well as this sheet here that you glued into one of your notebooks that has all of the examples of when paragraphing happens. So if you're missing something, make sure that you come and ask. This is either in your writing journal or in your resource journal, just depending on where you were putting everything. The first place, though, that I want for you to take a look is on page 92 at the top. These are all elements of narrative writing here, but we're going to take specifically a look at the when to paragraph in a narrative. Okay, whenever the camera moves, if you picture a movie and the camera is zoomed in on someone's face, or zoomed in on a certain location, and then the camera turns and is now zoomed in on someone else, or the camera goes from the dinner table to a specific event at the dinner table, that is what when the camera moves means regarding paragraphing. Basically, there are 5 different times that you paragraph. Now, these are not the hard set only 5 times, but these just give you an idea of what you do. So usually you will paragraph at a new time. So if you are doing a journal and you are numbering by days or dates, or if you are going by time on something, or if you say after about a minute or the next day, 2 hours later, any of these words that show that time is changing, that's when you paragraph. Same thing with place. If your character moves, again, when the camera moves, you would go from upstairs to downstairs. You would go from home, you'd go to school, inside to outside, you will put a new paragraph. To paragraph with the computer, you hit the Enter key, and then you often hit Tab, but sometimes the first time you do it is the only time you need to. So double check that it doesn't indent and then indent further. Everything should be indented the same. A new major event, if you say something like all of a sudden, suddenly, out of nowhere, your character gets surprised, or something along those lines. The new speaker goes with the dialogue. Anytime a new character starts talking, you need to put a new paragraph. And finally, this creative paragraph here is anytime you want your reader to look at this is really important, or you're proving a point. Just like really short sentences can create anxiety for your reader, really short paragraphs can do the same thing. And I want for you to think about regarding paragraph length. If you ever opened a book and the entire page is a paragraph, think of how it makes you feel as a reader to see that. And so think of how it would make your reader feel if the entire piece is just one big paragraph. Okay? So again, to create a paragraph on the computer, you go before the first word in your next paragraph and hit the Enter key, and either it'll indent and you don't need to, or you hit the Tab key. Don't hit the space bar to indent paragraphs. Again, the paragraphing examples here show you the many different ways to paragraph. This right here, of course, is all dialogue. This right here shows how they did this artful short paragraph. Suddenly, there's a paragraph here because there's a new event that's important. Here you see that they put the thoughts and the drip, drip, drip in their own paragraphs because the drip is important, very important actually in this book. You see the different lengths here as well. This one's a little bit longer, but they put a couple of really short ones together. You also saw that in the sentence fluency one that we glued into our resource notebook that looks like this. This one is an opening scene, or one of the earlier scenes he's remembering, and he's like kind of having this anxiety about it. And not only is it super short sentences, but he's also has these really short paragraphs. Okay, so what I want for you to do is go into your narrative piece of writing and go ahead and add those paragraphs. If you've already done the dialogue lesson, you've already put them in when new characters are talking, but now I want for you to go put them in with those elements that are on page 92 and really think about this creative one. You don't want to do it all the time, but is there a part in the piece that is crucial to what's happening to your character? I just can't believe it. Everything stopped. My world was over. I don't know, but is there a place in your text where you need your reader to intentionally slow down, look at that, and then you move on to another paragraph? I'm also happy to show you a couple places where you could do that if you want to bring it up to me, and we'll take a look at it together. Okay, happy paragraphing.